Our next speaker is Nushra Mansuri from the British Association of Social Workers.
Thank you. I've prepared a speech, but I just want to say something on a personal note. I've got a 1-year-old and a 2-year-old, and I've just been on maternity leave, and I returned to work in December, and that was one of the hardest decisions I had to make. It wasn't really feeling like much of a choice, but I'm the only wage earner in my family, so emotionally, psychologically, all those things. When we did not live in a child-friendly, family-friendly society, and I was shocked when I went on to maternity allowance that was less than income support, and that was really difficult for us. But anyway, here to talk on behalf of the British Association of Social Workers. So what I'd like to say is this bill is just a sad indictment of that this government really does not value the role of being a parent. And, you know, being a parent, that is the hardest form, I think, of work that there is, and I'm paid at that. And of course, you know, it's long hours and not many concessions. The bill is not supportive to children and families. It's punitive, particularly to the most vulnerable and disadvantaged, who social workers often will be working with. One of the most important things that we can give our children is our time. That is one of the most precious commodities that we have, and our attention. And trying to balance the demands of work and looking after children can seriously affect the relationships between parents and children. Ironically, if children or young people get into trouble, it will be the parents who will be called, you know, to account for their children, and why have their children done this, and where were you when your children were out there getting involved with whatever they were getting involved with. So you're between a rock and a hard place, I think. And the parents are simply struggling, I think, just to make ends meet. Work should be a choice, not an enforcement for parents, particularly parents of young children. Families that social workers work with, they are already under so much stress, so much duress, and they don't need yet another directive from the government pushing them over the edge. This is particularly pertinent for lone parents, for parents where, you know, they may not have a lot of support, they may not have much in terms of support networks, they could be so isolated. How are they going to manage this? Is this policy really about empowering individuals? Work and training, it can be a positive experience, but it needs to be on the terms of the individual and fit in with their own commitments. Childcare, that is a really big issue. Again, you know, I'm faced with this, but childcare should be about making, I think, a positive choice, and it should never be coercion. It's ironic that we're prepared in this society, in this country, to offer financial incentives for other people to care for our children. But if we want to do that, if we want to make that choice, it is not seen as a positive choice. You know, I've got a friend who's got 8 children, and she always says to me, if you're going to talk about these things, can you please tell people that I made a choice to stay at home and look after my children. I don't get paid for that, it's not valued, it's not respected, but it's what I wanted to do as a mother, so I have to be true to her, I think. And yes, it can be, what can we say? A lot of us here, I think, are parents or have responsibilities for children. And I don't like to use the word sacrifice because I think our children are everything to us, but it can also mean sacrificing things in your life. Because it is the most important job of all. It's about spending time with our children. Moreover, the childcare, what is the choice? What's the flexibility in the system as it exists? What if you are doing I do very antisocial hours sometimes. There's no childcare there, really, to meet the needs of my children. So, you know, it comes back to us as a family, of course. But the flexibility is not there within the system, the choice is not there. So ironically, the government wants to push particular groups in society into paid work, but at the same time, they are willfully preventing others who may be desperate to work. They have no recourse to public funds, talking about, you know, also people who are so-called failed asylum seekers, who are actually saying, we want the right to work, we want to be able to provide for our families. The government doesn't want to know. I am going to finish now. So speaking on behalf of the British Association of Social Workers, we say to the government, you need to get the balance right. You need to put the needs of children first and work towards a family-friendly society where every child and every parent matters.
Yeah, yeah.